Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Conversations Over Cars. My name's Tim Winkeler. I'm the president and CEO here at VIP Tires and Service. Today, we have the pleasure of being in sunny Mexico, Maine, at our VIP Tires and Service here in Mexico, and we're going to be talking with Daniel Bub Glover. And Bub has been a master tech for a long time, one of our great technicians here in Mexico. And today we're going to be talking all about fluids. All of our vehicles require fluids to stay lubricated, to keep them healthy, and they need to be changed. We need to check how clean they are, make sure they're full. We're going to be talking to Bub all about fluids today. And so let's take a walk into the shop here and let's go meet Bub. So come on in. All right, so good morning, Bub.
Morning.
How you doing?
Good, you?
Doing great. So here we are in our Mexico, Maine shop, and we got Bub Glover here. Bub's been turning wrenches for a few days.
Quite a few.
Quite a few.
30
So
plus years.
Bub's one of our great technicians here in Mexico. And so, Bub, tell me, how long have you been automotive mechanic?
30 plus years.
30 plus years. That's awesome.
Yes.
You must love what you do.
I do.
You do.
I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Customers love coming to you too. I just heard you on the phone earlier because a customer called with a question and wanted to just talk to you, right?
Yep. I don't mind that.
No, that's how it works. They trust you, right?
That's right.
Absolutely. So, how'd you get started in the business?
My dad used to own a shop. And
Okay.
Right through junior high and high school, I worked with him and
So you grew up in the shop.
grew up in the shop.
That's
I
awesome.
stayed right with it.
Yeah, that's great. And how long now with VIP?
I've been here 3 years.
3 years. So that's great. We're glad to have Bub here on our team. And I tell you, our shop here in Mexico has never had more talent. And we got a great team here. So it's,
Yes, we do.
It's fun to see. And just from being here this morning, I can tell that you guys all have a good time together.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and today, what's our topic for today, Bub?
We're going to talk about dab samples, fluids in the vehicles.
Fluids in the vehicles. And why are fluids so important?
Well, if you didn't have the right fluids in vehicles, they wouldn't operate right.
That's right. So engines need oil because, you got to
gotta keep
have
everything
lubrication.
lubricated.
You got to
Yep.
keep things cool.
Yep.
Yep.
Oil, antifreeze, power steering fluid, brake fluid, all plays a role in vehicles.
And what's interesting for me is, before I was in this business, I really never thought about the fluids in a vehicle. It's
Right.
something that a lot of people, they drive every day and they put gas in it. That's the one
Exactly.
fluid everybody knows.
Exactly. Starts up, you go.
Start up and go, put gas in it, right?
Yep.
Most people also think about engine oil because they know they got to get an oil change every once in a while.
Right.
Outside of that, though, there's all these other fluids that have really important jobs to do in a vehicle,
Yes.
and that's what we're going to talk about today, right? What do they all do, and why are they so important?
Okay.
So let's do it, and we're going to start over here. And so I guess you want to walk through the dab process. So,
Yep. Usually,
so what does that mean, and what do the people need to know about dabs and fluids?
we'll pull a vehicle in, lift the hood, and then we'll start off checking brake fluid. We'll take a dab sample there.
All right. Come over here and get a close up of that, Colleen.
Then we have a chart we go by for brake fluid. And this one here, the corrosion level is good. When you get up into the darker purples, it's recommended to replace the brake fluid on that.
And Bub, just like all fluids, most car manufacturers have recommended intervals for changes too, right? So
Yes.
we check them every time the vehicle comes in,
Yep.
but sometimes it might be that, in this case, Jeep might say that fluid should be changed every 60,000 miles or something.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Because with brake fluid, it can create moisture in the system, and if it does, then it'll corrode the brake lines, deteriorate the brake hoses. So.
And the whole idea about checking fluid is let's make sure we keep it fresh and clean, because the last thing you want to do is find out your brake fluid's bad by your pedal.
Right.
By the time it gets to the pedal,
Yeah.
it's too late, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to keep it full.
You want to keep it full. Yep. All
And
right.
then when we go from there, we'll check the antifreeze. Don't do it if it's hot.
It's not hot, so Bub can do it.
Then we'll take our dab sample. Check that. We do have a chart for the antifreeze, which this one here needs the coolant replaced.
There's 6.5.
Yep, it's in the vicinity to have it changed, recycled, all cleaned up.
Okay. And how long does that process take, Bub, when you have to do a coolant exchange?
Typically 20 minutes to maybe an hour.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
Different vehicles are different.
right, exactly. For the hookups, it's totally different on every vehicle.
Okay.
So
All
then,
right.
from there, you know, if you got a power steering reservoir, we'll take a dab sample of that with a handy dandy Q-tip. And then we just dab it on the paper. And this one here is nice and clean. It's pretty clear. It's not dark brown. So power steering fluid looks good.
One thing to show here is the cap of this power steering fluid got a steering wheel on it. So if anybody's ever looking under their hood and they're trying to figure out where's that power steering fluid,
Exactly.
look for the steering wheel, right?
Exactly. I have had people put fluids where they don't go.
Wrong reservoir.
Yes, yes. And then also we check motor oil. We'll pull the dipstick for the motor oil, and we'll dab that on the paper.
So you're looking for a color? Is that
Yeah.
what you're looking for? Yeah.
The darker the oil, it's
The dirtier.
dirtier.
Yeah.
Right. This one here doesn't look too bad.
Yeah. Good.
I think the customer takes care of it. As far as like transmission fluid checks go, some vehicles don't have a dipstick, which this one does not. So that makes it a little difficult. Sometimes if they have just a cap, we can get down in there to check it, but other times we just go by the service intervals that we have recommended through VIP.
And that's where the mileage intervals become really important, because there's no good way to check the fluid. So you just have to make sure, go to your owner's manual,
Yep.
or in our system, we also have all those specs in our
Yep.
system.
Yep.
So we can tell a customer, you know, that Jeep recommends the transmission fluid be changed every 80,000 miles.
Yep.
And that's a really important one too, because I know automatic transmissions, if you don't get those fluids changed and you go too many miles,
Yep.
then we'll actually sometimes not be able to change, or we choose not to change them if there's too many miles on it, because sometimes
Exactly.
a change on a high mileage transmission can actually
Yep.
loosen up a lot of that debris, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Gets
Yep.
a lot of dirt in there. So
Yep.
it's really important to get those fluids changed. What other, this is a 4-wheel drive, right, Colleen?
Yeah.
So what other kind of fluids we got underneath?
Well, you got your front and rear differentials
Yep.
with gear oil in them. Usually, when it's up in the air, we'll pull the plug, we'll check the texture, make sure there's no metal shavings in the gear oil. Same thing with them. There's a certain amount of mileage
Yeah.
intervals to change those.
Typically 15 to 30,000 miles roughly on the
Yep,
diffs.
yep,
So,
yep.
and that's one a lot of people also forget about. And it's actually a pretty frequent recommendation if you want to keep that, even on a 2-wheel drive car, right? There's
Exactly. The gears in the rear end and stuff, the wear and tear with old fluid isn't good.
Yeah. All right. And then what other fluids we got in here? We got, I guess we could talk about Freon. Is that a fluid or is that a gas?
Yes.
It's a gas. Okay, I'm sorry.
But I mean, you got washer fluid.
Washer fluid. There you go. That's another fluid.
We don't typically dab sample the washer fluid.
We just fill it
We
up.
just fill it up, keep the customers happy.
Yeah.
So, what happens if, like, a customer is in their garage and they notice that there's something on the bottom of the garage floor?
Fluids on the
How
floor.
would they know maybe what the fluid is, or?
Well, sometimes you can tell by the color. Antifreeze, typically green.
Okay.
Motor oil, like I said, it could be dark. And the consistency on some fluids, if you've been in the business, you could tell. But if you're just a regular
Right. I'm on
customer,
my driveway. I pull
right.
out of my driveway and I see
Yeah.
a puddle. And
Antifreeze is sweet smelling. Brake fluid is kind of slippery and like thin. Transmission fluid's red.
red. So red transmission. Most coolant
Most
green.
fluid's green.
Motor oil's brownish.
Brown. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Power steering fluid, if it's good, it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
But the best thing to do, bring it to a VIP. We'll
Yeah.
put it in the air and check it.
That's absolutely. You know, so I was with my son and his wife last weekend, and they were buying a car, a used car.
Yeah.
We drove it around and everything, and when they parked it, they noticed a lot of fluid dripping out of the bottom of it,
Right.
and they're not car people, so they immediately, oh my gosh, what is that? What is that? It was the
Air
AC.
conditioner. Yep.
It was the AC. So
Yep,
a lot of
drain.
people's cars will drain just water.
Water. Yep.
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 So that's perfectly fine, and that means the AC is working well.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes if those plug up though, that can cause a little issue.
Yeah.
No water leak inside the car, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's typical clean water in the summertime.
Yeah.
Can we determine transmission fluid condition by color? That's a question.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if transmission fluid, when it goes bad, sometimes it turns like black. It's a real dark. It's not red, and it can smell burn. The smell too.
And so, Bub, when we have a vehicle, this one doesn't, but some transmissions do have a dipstick.
Yes.
When you have a transmission with a dipstick, you can check it
You can pull it
with,
out.
on your dab here.
Yep. Put it on here, and it'll show red. But I've had a lot that are pretty dark.
Yeah.
They look black.
And if you get some black transmission fluid, we're absolutely talking to that customer about we got to get some new fluid in that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then depending on the mileage of the vehicle,
Right.
whether we do a flush or with automatic transmission fluids, they have filters in the pan. Drop the pan to a filter service.
Okay. Good.
We can do that.
And typically, all of the fluid exchange services are much cheaper than replacing, I don't know, say a differential.
Oh,
A lot cheaper.
100%. Yeah.
Yes.
Most fluid exchanges
Yep.
around 100, maybe 150 bucks. I think transmission might be a little more expensive than that.
Yep. But
But-
still, you take the price of a new transmission, you're in the thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Or even a radiator,
Yep.
several hundred.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So, any other questions out there? Great questions. Thanks for those questions that people are asking as we're filming here. And I think that's a wrap. Bub, that was awesome. So, thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
And once again, just to sign off here from VIP in Mexico, Maine, and here with Bub Glover, our ASC certified technician, talking all about fluids. If you have any other follow-up questions from watching this video, feel free to throw them on the comment line there, and Colleen will get with Bob and we'll get your questions answered all about fluids in your vehicle. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Conversations Over Cars. We'll talk to you next time.